Why do you think you'd be a good fit for this position?
I think it's just my character more than anything, and I want 6 figures. Cool. It's your intro for episode 25, mate.
Welcome back. Living Room Chat podcast, episode number 25, which means we're a quarter of the way to 100 episodes, which feels significant.
It does. And it's funny, we 10 episodes ago, and we were like, fuck. Right, blank that out straight. That's a record, isn't it? 10 seconds.
It's fine, we're allowed to swear.
Okay, cool. When we were like mid-teens, we were like, God, we seem to have been in the teens for ages. And now we're just flying through the 20s, like we said. It's like 25 already. Happy days.
Yeah, still
Happy
working
days.
on that sponsorship deal. But
anyone who wants to sponsor us, please do get involved. Like, we're happy. We'll pay you, actually.
yeah, please. Tell you who won't be sponsoring us is any of the heating engineers who I upset on TikTok last week.
It was funny. So, obviously, if everyone who listens and watches the podcast, thanks. We love your support. We obviously take snippets out, chuck them on our socials. Matt does that very well. And we said one in the last topic where we were talking about boiler servicing, and we knew it was a bit clickbaity, didn't we? Like when we said that after, we thought that's going to get some reaction there.
Trigger people, yeah.
And it is. It's become our most successful post with 23,000 views, which is tier 2 viral in our level.
in our little
20,000 plus was kind of like. If you get that every time, you'd be happy, wouldn't you? But 180 odd likes, but nearly 200 comments from very angry people.
200 comments, 170, 180 of them just being like...
Angry, slating you for your competency. Idiot. One person questioning your integrity and why you want to kill people.
Yeah.
Kill all my family. One person even said, you won't be laughing so much when you get called out on manslaughter charges.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fucking TikTok, mate.
Well... I've said this before, I think the good thing about putting stuff out into the world and getting people commenting like that is it makes you, or makes me in this case, like evaluate my opinion. Yep, I said that, I put it out there, people have given me shit about it. Do I change my mind or do I stand by what I say?
And the answer is?
For me, I stand by what I say.
Okay.
But I know you disagree with me, and I enjoy the conversation and debate that it brings up.
It was what I found funny is that we obviously it posted midweek last week, wasn't it? Yeah. And you texted me on Saturday saying comments blowing up, and I sat there for 10 minutes, went through all 100 comments at the time, and your responses to people was quite funny.
Yeah.
But I know we both commented. Obviously, you can't see who it is because we're just a Living Room Chat podcast. But I think one of the points I made, and it's the top comment there, is people calling you out for giving wrong advice and you shouldn't be advising people on that. I was like, mate, at no point did you ever advise someone not to get their boiler service.
I don't feel like I did.
I literally had to listen back to it word for word to make sure that we were okay. I know TikTok, you can say what you want, but I didn't want anything to come back on us.
Because at the end of that clip, I said, I just don't think people should worry about it as much as they do.
And even at the start, you said, I don't think boiler service is necessary. That's very different from saying, everyone who watches this, please do not get your boiler service. It's a waste of money. That's very, very different. So we had to put a little disclaimer in there.
Yeah.
But mate, some people, wow, it was so irate.
Well, it was the gas engineers getting angry because they make all of their money ripping people off boiler services. But
because a couple of people actually did say, I'm a gas engineer. I've plumber for 9 years. I've never had my boiler serviced. Well, I think one guy, I've been in the business 40 years. Never, and this guy is talking sense. Money for old rope.
So I thought, actually, Matt, you're not well educated enough on boilers to be throwing out opinions like that.
Yeah.
And maybe people have a right to be upset. So I went away and I looked at the stats for carbon monoxide poisoning, and there's 20 to 30 deaths a year in the UK from
which is too many.
Poisoning. It is, yeah.
But
yeah, for sure.
A sense of but.
And there's 25 or so million households in the UK.
Yeah.
Granted, not all of those will have gas appliances, but then there's commercial properties. So
yeah.
So 20 to 30, deaths.
So roll it down to 20 million households, maybe then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, really, really, really small amount. But it doesn't say whether the deaths occur from leaving the gas cooker on, you know,
or deliberate deaths.
Or deliberate deaths, or lack of servicing, or lack of proper installation.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a gas registered person install your boiler
Yeah.
has to be signed off with building control. Or you need
Corgi. Corgi's like I think Corgi are the main boiler people.
Yeah, but you have to have some sort of building reg certificate, don't you, when
I
the
don't
boiler's
think so.
installed?
No.
Sure you do.
I think you just need it signed off by Corgi member.
Right, okay.
Again,
So
we're talking about what we don't know about.
Yeah, so maybe people can tell us. But
Yeah.
So it's all been properly installed.
Yeah.
And then it just the data to me didn't seem like there were loads of people dying from their boiler not being serviced.
But everyone is entitled to their own opinion. We're
Correct.
simply voicing ours. That's all it was. We're not trying to ruffle any feathers. It was a bit clickbaity. And we really enjoyed all the response. So thank you everyone who commented. I think we'll make another follow-up reel from this bit of the conversation and see how much we get. And it'll probably be like 6 likes and 150 views, I reckon.
Do you want to know something funny though?
Go on,
I went to my loft the other day, just quickly to get something. You know, the
You
foam,
smell
the
gas.
insulation gets to you a little bit. So I was like coughing a little bit. I was going to sleep and I was just sort of like struggling to just to get my normal breathing pattern. And I went, fuck, I haven't checked my carbon monoxide alarm recently.
No batteries.
And it was fine, but I was lying there being like, cool, wouldn't it be ironic if I die this evening in my sleep?
Yeah.
And Ryan has to do episode number 25 by himself.
I would have to sack it off. I would have to retire the series. I would literally just do a little episode saying, I'm really sorry. No, I don't want to say it, but Matt's passed away. That's really... let's move on.
Let's just publicly say, if I do pass away, I want you to continue doing this to at least 100 episodes.
Okay. And we won't allow the death certificate to say carbon monoxide poisoning.
No, please
We'll make up something else.
But,
Okay.
but well, I know we don't want to dwell on this for ages, but while we're on that, lots of people were saying, you're an idiot, I bet you don't get your car serviced either.
And the irony is, you don't.
I don't get a full service.
Yeah.
A full service is a waste of money. And if you look through what they do on a service, check the indicators are working. Check the brake lights are working. Check the full beams are working. Change the... Like, it's a load of bullshit.
Change the oil, check the tyres,
stuff,
check
you
the
can
water
check
levels.
Yeah, check the tyre tread.
I can top you on this one because I have an electric car. And I paid for a full service, £331 my service was. And I didn't question the price until afterwards, thinking, hang on a minute, what the hell have they checked? Check the tyre tread, I could do it myself. Change the air pollen filter, which is something you need to change apparently.
Yeah, I never.
They're like probably 15 quid in parts.
Yeah.
What do you check on an electric car? Like, it's ridiculous, £330. But coming back to internal combustion engines, I do think they need to be checked because it's not health and safety like checking a boiler, but it is going to cost you a lot of money if things go wrong. Like if your oil's low, that's stupid, you should check that.
Yeah.
But then you could check your oil, couldn't you?
You check. I get my oil and filter changed religiously every 8 to 10,000 miles. So the oil's changed, the filter's changed, so that's refreshed every 8 to 10,000 miles. The rest of the stuff in the car, if it's going to break, it's going to break.
Yeah, good point.
They're not like serviceable parts and stuff.
So basically,
in my opinion.
you just set up another reel to piss off car service people now instead.
Yeah, so I pissed off heating engineers, pissed off someone else the other week, now mechanics.
Okay, and next week, let's get on to electricians.
Yes, EICR certificates.
Cool,
Right.
excellent, all right. But nice little intro there. Got over one topic. A couple of things I wanted to chat about.
Yes.
Are property investments a thing of the past, or is there still a market for HMOs? Homes of multiple occupants, for the people that aren't aware of what that means. That's something I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I think you wanted to mention, there was an article you read about
Agencies and
yeah,
different types.
and the variety, is it going to be a success? So
Yeah, so HMOs
yeah,
and is property investing still dead? Property investing is never going to be dead, is it?
No.
I think as long as we live in like a capitalist society, it's never going to be dead.
no,
You're always going to have rich people renting out homes to poor people.
yeah, effectively, yeah.
Like, effectively, that's what it is. And so the HMO thing is like a substrata of that, really, isn't it?
Yes.
It's, rich people breaking down a house to rent it to even poorer people.
Yeah.
In a
But
way.
I've been in, obviously we both worked in busy town and city centres where I've been in so many HMOs and I've gone in there and they're just awful. Like falling apart, just horrible tenants, horrible place, just nasty. But the reason I wanted to bring up this conversation is obviously my sister, my 25-year-old sister, was living with me for the last 4 months. Got her back to the area so she can get back herself ready to move out, and we'll find her a place to move into. And she actually moved in. She got the keys to her new place on Monday, which is a couple of days ago.
Which is a bougie HMO, from what I gather.
Absolutely. Well, and I've always been dead against HMOs since I've worked in a central town market. I've always said people they're just too much hassle.
Yeah.
This one though looked amazing, and I feel like the landlord or lady who has created that model there is probably quite successful. It was awesome. So we've got 6 lettable rooms, big unit. It's got room for 7 cars at the back for parking. It's got a separate kitchen, separate communal room for the tenants. The room's not massive. The room Lauren's moved in, not massive. Big double room, standard double room, wardrobe. It's got its ensuite. She's paying $650 a month, and it got me thinking. That's the average for those 6 rooms there. You're probably bringing in about $4,000 a month if they're all occupied, and all of them were. That seems like a quite good investment. Like even if you're paying out your mortgage and your business insurance and your bills, you've got to pay for the property and everything that goes with it. If you own that in a company name, you could be profiting each month without really doing anything, £1,000 to £1,500 a month.
Yeah.
If you've got 3 of those, bringing in $4,000 a month, you're laughing.
If it's fully occupied, of course.
Which they normally are, because there's a massive, massive lack of rental properties. Like, we really struggled to find them somewhere, because every time we phoned up, there was 10 people going for it. Like, only reason we got this is because we paid $5,000 to pay 6 months up front.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, cool, go for it.
Yeah, so like you, I really didn't like the HMO model, because when I got into the business, I just saw so many bad HMOs where the rooms were really bad condition. There were no communal areas. I just felt like no one can live here and have a good quality of life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I thought, this is a sector which is growing, and actually it doesn't provide good housing. But it sounds like the place you found is really, really nice.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot more. Like, I know obviously the chap who works quite closely with the owners of Avocado, he does the luxury HMOs where he's charging £750, £800 for a room.
Yeah.
And they look amazing. I think back to, I never rented on my own. Laura and I rented a flat from day one, our own flat, because the prices were a lot cheaper there. I think our first rent was $525 a month for a massive 1-bedroom flat in Reading.
525?
Yeah, that's how much we paid. 2011. It's only 12 years ago. Anyway, I think the market's coming back for luxury HMOs.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. And I think the HMO thing, as much as I didn't like it at first, I can see now that it is kind of an answer to the housing problem in a way, in the sense that we all know there aren't enough properties for everyone. We all know that housing is really expensive for people to get on the ladder.
Yeah.
So actually, HMOs, I think, can be a good answer, because you've got the ability to rent a room.
Yeah.
You pay much less than you would do if you had a 1-bedroom flat and all the bills and stuff.
Yeah.
You've also got an opportunity to meet other people there.
Yeah.
And I think there's a social aspect there which maybe isn't a part.
It's a really nice bridge for young professionals that aren't quite there to stretch. Because even if you let a flat for, let's say, $850 a month, by the time you pay your council tax, £100 a month, and your gas bills and your electric bills, maybe not gas, but whatever it may be, your bills alone are probably going to be another £250 on top, easally.
Yeah, it's 4 figures.
So now you're paying £1,100 a month, and if you're on a smallish salary, that's going to be out of proportion for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in a room for a year, it's a nice room and you've got your own space and it's $650 a month, all bills included, you can still save £300-400 a month and then move on to a bigger thing afterwards. I think it's a real nice bridge for people.
Yeah, bridge is a good word, and I think that's how I'd like to see that market evolving, with more regulations, so you don't have the shitty rooms that we've seen, and then people can get in them. And my experience renting, the house, the quality of the house dictates the quality of the tenant. So in the town centre, I've seen lots of these nice, sexy HMOs, and you'll get professional tenants in them. Yeah. Naturally, the professional tenants will look after them, and they'll be left nicely for the next person.
Yeah. And they're not always like that, unfortunately. And if you get a bad tenant in, or a bad run of tenants, suddenly the upkeep will become a lot more, because everything's going to get worn out a lot quicker because they don't care as
Yeah.
much. But it's an interesting one, and it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next 6 to 12 months in a, what we call in the market now, stumbling market. We're going to come on to that in a second, actually, but stumbling market or declining,
It's
challenging.
Is it a wait and see market? No, it's not a wait and see market. It's a challenging market though.
Typically in challenging markets, more investors come out of the woodwork and want to buy because they feel like the prices are on a down.
Yeah.
They can knock people down on price, get a property, and then see the rise over the next couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see how many come in and what tactics they're going for. Whether it's single lets, whether it's multiple room lets, whether it's investing in business. I mean, who knows?
One of the challenges with HMOs, which I've seen recently, is the council grant the license for the HMO.
Yeah.
And this amount of rooms, this amount of occupants.
Yeah.
They're now allocating a council tax plan for each room rather than the whole house.
Yeah.
Which makes the maths really tough to work out sometimes.
Yeah.
If rather than paying £200 for council tax, you're paying £600 for council tax.
It makes a lot of difference, doesn't it? But the thing is, they just pass it on to the tenant. So now they're charging £650 a room rather than £500 a room. It always used to be in the area we work, £500 a room was the going rate, and now we're looking at £650. Somewhere we're looking at £700 a month.
I mean, but the market's the market, isn't it? So, and I can't work out. That's not the same for every HMO.
No, there's still shit ones.
Yeah.
Interesting though. But I still think like good HMOs, good landlords. There's still a market for them to make money. But I think you need a lot of money to get started. Like you can't just buy 5 HMOs these days and then be a millionaire next year.
No.
Like you need, it's a long-term effort, a long-term game.
And there's always issues because you said about, the house takes in £4,000 a month. Maybe you got £2,000 a month of costs.
Yeah.
You've got £2,000 there. If you have 3 rooms become empty all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And they're empty for a month. 1 month all your profit's gone.
Yeah.
And the nature of room renting as well is it's not a long-term thing. So everyone wants tenants for years.
But I hear exactly the point you're making, but the flip side argument of that is if you've got 10 months of the year earning £2,000 a month profit, that's 20 grand. And then if the month 11 and 12 you're breaking even or losing money, all right, will you be £500 down per month? You're £1,000 down.
Fair.
Cool. So you're still going to earn 19 grand a year.
Yeah.
Which is some basic salary for people.
Yeah.
Interesting times. Anyway.
Yeah, so I didn't like them at first, but now I accept them as part of the housing market. I think if the world changed and the government was like, we're going to build loads of council houses and we're going to make sure everyone has housing, then I think the HMO market would disappear. But I think the HMO market is evolving.
Yeah.
Because there is a lack.
And the good ones stand out head and shoulders above the bad ones.
Yeah.
And that's why they can charge premium prices.
And I've sold a couple of the bad ones, and they're harder to sell.
They're a nightmare to sell. Like if a landlord comes to me and says, "Oh, will you sell my let 6-bed HMO?" I'll be like, "No." Well, I will 2%.
Yeah, but it's just.
But even then, it's just like when you have to call 6 different tenants or set up a WhatsApp group with all the tenants to message them saying when you come around, and one of them doesn't open the door. Oh, I didn't get your message. You've literally blue ticked me, buds. Like I can see you got the message.
Sneaky.
That's what I love about TikTok. WhatsApp, the old blue tick. Like it's just a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is accountability for your communication.
Although it does mean that if I see a message from someone, I've only just realised that you can hold over the message. If you press hold on the message, it'll come up with the message. It doesn't show that you read it.
Oh, I've never known if that blue ticks you or not.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
So if you've got someone you need to call back and you don't want to read the message just now, but you need to know what they're saying. Not that I do that with many clients, obviously. It's a few though.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, this moving swiftly on. This agency argument about online versus hybrid versus self-employed versus high street. Who's going to succeed? Who's going to be not? I haven't seen a detailed argument either way for a long time until we saw this one today, which had the headline, I can't remember, something about variety is here to stay with the estate agency. Yeah. Because it was off the back of obviously the Purple Bricks and Strike deal where so many online agents have faltered and gone under. But the really good point she made, like they named like 6 companies, like Tepelo and Doorsteps, are 2 of them that were online companies.
What happened to Doorsteps?
Went bust.
Right. Okay.
But she meant like there was 5 or 6 online companies that went bust.
Yeah.
But in the same time frame, there was 695 estate agents that went bust.
Yeah.
So 600, so nearly 700, only 5 of them were online, which would equate to the percentage of how much they actually have in the market.
Yeah.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
It's interesting though, isn't it? I think the only person who really gives a fuck about the statistics and stuff are estate agents and people who comment about estate agents.
Yeah.
But again, the self-employed thing is the answer. So the hybrid or the online agents were like, we just need to make everything cheap.
Yeah.
So they made everything cheap. It didn't make any money, gone bust.
Yeah.
The traditional agents have said, we don't need to change anything, we're fine.
Yeah.
And the world has changed.
Yeah.
I think the problem with the traditional agent wasn't the cost.
No, it never was. It was the service and the process of where they went. And we've said about this before. They worked for themselves and the owners of that company and beating other estate agents rather than who's the most important person in the whole setup, which is the client. They lost sight of that and have done over many, many years.
And so if say your typical agency in any town in the UK, it's like, Johnson and Co. started in the 80s, grew it to 5, 10, 20 offices. Those offices now tick along on KPIs and whatever.
Yeah, making a couple $100,000, whatever it may be.
Mr. Johnson's on the golf course.
Yeah.
Maybe his kids have the MD roles.
Yeah.
And he's so many steps removed from Mr. and Mrs. Smith who are moving home.
He's never sat on someone's living room drinking a shit cup of coffee, trying to pitch for business for 30 years.
Exactly.
He doesn't know what it's like anymore.
Yeah, so there's such a disconnect. Whereas actually what we do is very personal. It's very just, I don't like the phrase holding hands, but it is.
It's a very emotive move and people do need that guidance and the help. And I love those comments I get from buyers, from sellers, like, thank you so much. I literally wrapped up a deal this morning. And the buyer, every single one of them, I had 5 offers on this house and only one person got it. But the message I got back when I said it's yours, I spoke to her and she texted me straight away saying, thank you so much for all your help, everything you've done. I've only known her since, I met her on Sunday.
Yeah.
I've known her 3 days, we've negotiated a deal. But I was there every step of the way and I will continue to be every step of the way.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is.
So I think the issues with traditional agents was the service, not the price.
Yeah.
So if you improve the service and keep the price, that's what we've got with self-employed. So.
But the other thing with the high street is because they have that stigma attached to them. It's all well and good, and there'll be very good high street agents out there that have adopted that, improve the service, keep the price the same, and getting glowing reviews. But because they're still in the same area of other estate agents, that stigma still attached to them. It will take 20, 25, 30 years for estate agency, the way people view estate agents to change.
It will, yeah. But
if it ever will.
But that article that variety is a key is true, isn't it? Because if you're an older couple, you might like the fact that Johnson and Co in town has spent 30 grand kitting their office out and you can go in there.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And have a cup of coffee.
We've both worked for Purple Bricks.
Yeah.
As much as I like to tell myself people were signing up because I was great, they were probably there because
people were. What I found with Purple Bricks when I was signing people up and get them sold, like they were shocked at how good the service was for how little money it was.
Yeah.
But that was a small percentage on the bit of a big pie. Whereas the amount of people that were pissed off because they paid all this money, right, grand, but they haven't sold, well, I've just wasted £1,000, haven't you? Yeah. But if you'd sold, you would save 3 or 4 grand, and then they'd be ecstatic.
I found that people didn't appreciate what good value it was.
Yeah.
Because it's so rare that you move home.
Yeah.
That people were thinking, oh, Purple Bricks, I've seen them on the telly. Oh, Matt seems nice. Oh, okay, this is X amount cheaper than the next agent. Yeah, well, let's give it a go. And I'd be 9 out of 10 deals would be great, and then you'd have one deal which wouldn't be. And
I know. But the self-employed model, I think, is absolutely the way forward for people, and we've said this a lot on the chat. Just think more people should just adopt it. But the article made a very key point. It's a very individual, a certain type of person is the one that can do this.
Yeah.
Like obviously you need to be experienced and a good quality estate agent, good with people, good lister, good sales progressor, good valuer, everything about estate agency. But you also need to be self-motivated, highly driven, I think mentally fit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a mentally strong person. I've never had any issues with any anxiety or concerns or worries until I ran my own business. And now I'm a massive advocate. Like, if people turn around and say I'm really struggling with my mental health, I'm like, mate, come talk to me. Like, absolutely all ears. Whereas previously I'd be like, mate, what?
Yeah.
Grow up, mate, just work harder.
Yeah, it's certainly made me realise that you're responsible for everything.
Yeah.
And in an employed role, you're only ever thinking about what am I going to do this month, I'm going to get paid on at the end of next month. You're never thinking really that far ahead.
No.
Maybe you are if you're looking for a job or a promotion, but you're always just kind of...
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's like by default, you have to look 6-12 months ahead.
Minimum, yeah. Like, I'm planning how, like, I know I need to be listing these many houses in... And August is going to be a quiet month for us because obviously summer holidays is typically quite quiet. But I know I need to get enough on the market to sell because I need to worry about where I'm going to get paid in March, April next year.
Yeah.
But that's good because it keeps you grounded, it keeps you structured. And I've been, we talked about it briefly in the last episode about the shit that I had coming out. And that wasn't the only bit. That since the 10 days since that episode aired, I've had a few other problems I've had to deal with. And it does make you sit back and keeps you grounded. You can't get complacent. You can't get carried away.
Yeah.
It is interesting. How are we doing for time?
I think we're almost at time, but I think talking about the agency thing, and even for people who are going to be thinking about it and looking at doing it in the future, ultimately everyone's going to be doing it in the future because if you've got as high up as you can do,
it's going to attract some really talented estate agents,
and I think that's what we don't have at the moment in the space. Lots of people commenting on the agency space.
Yeah,
you've got the Chris Watkins of the world and those types of people who have a lot to say, but they're not operators. There's nothing against them. I just mean there's lots of people who like to
talk a lot about what's good and what's not, but not really having. Not saying Chris doesn't know what he's talking about.
Not at all.
But I hear what you're saying. Everyone comments from their own point of view, and their own criteria. Like if you interview the owner of a self-employed model, he's going to rave about self-employed agencies.
Yeah.
Whereas if you interview someone who owns an online estate agency, he's going to rave about online estate agency. Everyone is involved in their own. Everyone's the centre of their own story.
Exactly. So they have their own perspective, and we're bigging up the self-employed model because we're in it now.
Yeah.
I think we both accept its flaws. I've stuck up for the likes of Purple Bricks before, so everyone has their own unique perspective, right?
But it's down to the individual and who really cares what people think. As long as you're enjoying what you do, have pride in what you do, then you're on to success. Whether that's online, high street, self-employed, which is the right way.
Do you think there's a danger, just before we sign off? I know like with EXP, you get equity in the business at a certain point, or you get shares because it's a public company, and then you take a cut of other agents' earnings, like a multi-level marketing thing. Similar thing we have in Avocado. Do you think that's good? Do you think that's potentially incentivizes bad behaviour? Do you think it's...
I think it's a terrible idea. I think where it should be, if that's the case, let's say EXP is an example, but let's just take a white label company, self-employed model, list on the stock market, there's shareholders. I feel like this would be the perfect transition. Once you hit a certain threshold, let's say 100 grand of exchange business in a year, you don't have to pay a license fee, and you can stop paying. The model will stop taking their percentage of the cut. You should have an opt-in or opt-out. Like, we'll still take the cut, but we're going to split. Let's say it's 30%. We'll take 15% of your fees, and the other 15% we can put into shares that you'll get back. So you have to earn a certain amount before you even get the option.
That's a nice idea.
Or you can just cut it, or maybe have it less, or 80,000 we'll cut it and we won't take any more money for that year. So you have different thresholds.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
It's a double incentive, and also it's a driver.
Because I think if you're if you're taking a cut of other people's business, basically where this is coming from is I sat down with an agent from EXP who showed me what he was making in residual income from other agents he'd introduced.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, well, you don't need to sell any houses then, do you?
Right, okay.
You know, so I can now understand why you're on LinkedIn every day, getting people to join,
Yeah.
rather than doing the
agency
hard
work,
work of the
you
mission.
become I think that's why I believe those are fundamentally flawed, because our ethos is do right by the client, whereas they're wholeheartedly doing right by themselves. They almost switch from being agency gets you through the door, and then within a year they switch into be full-time recruitment agents.
That's it, isn't it?
And this is like in painting the big picture. This is what you can do, and that's devalues the brand, because you're going to end up bringing shit estate agents on to get a quick win or get some money in from their business.
Yeah.
But you're devaluing the brand.
And I think that's the danger of the self-employed model. It's just people with vested interest in the self-employed model trying to make it grow as fast as possible.
It comes down to the owners. Are the owners there for the long haul and to create a brand they're proud of and they can tell their families about and be there forever until they retire? Or is someone trying to have a 10-year plan to get out as quickly as possible?
Yeah.
And they start a model with a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I mean,
with the client at heart, but really deep
they're
down,
not.
They want to retire at 45 and go to the Bahamas.
Yeah, because if you had the client at heart, you'd be sat in with the client and helping them move home.
Yeah, exactly that. Interesting point, though.
Cool. All right, well, let's sign off. Thanks for watching episode number 25. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.